Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to get the link and send it out if I can find it, of course. Hope everyone's doing well and lots of trick or treaters are out there. It's been that long, and it's not even that long since I was on StreamYard, that I forget how to share the stream. So I'm just going to have to go into the other phone and share the stream from there. Hi, Cement Shoes. How are you doing on this good Halloween evening? It's freezing cold in Ireland, spitting rain and yucky, but the kids will still be out. Isn't this an awful mess of what I'm having to do? And normally I would be on top of this, but I have not got my link. So I should share my link now from the other phone to Facebook. And yeah, I think that should be okay. Facebook might just be enough. Yeah, I'll share it to all the other places later on. So, this evening, are you cold too? Ugh, not great, is it? No, settle. So, sporadically, we're going to be hearing knock, knock, and shouting and roaring out the front window, and somebody will be running past to go out and give the trick or treaters their sweets. So, don't pass me heeding that. I'm hoping the music in the background isn't going to be too loud and I get shadow banned or I get kicked off YouTube. Either could happen, you know me. So, I had it all in my head how to lay everything out. But do you know what? It's a hickledy-pickledy kind of a day. You don't really lay out a Halloween. It just kind of happens. I really will get a straw for the next time. Promises. And I promise. So, yeah, I'll share with the girls. So what would you like to know about first? The games that we used to play? There used to be kind of child-friendly games at the start, but then kind of a spooky element would come into them after that. I don't think I have. Just texting the girls. Now, so yeah, the games that start off child-friendly. And because we lived out in the country, there wasn't really an awful lot of trick-or-treaters back then. But even in Ireland as a whole, there wasn't much trick-or-treating. It wasn't as Americanized as it is now. You would go to your neighbours and you'd get sweets and do all that sort of stuff. But there was never really a big dress up about it. It was all very traditional and very makeshift, if that makes sense. Like back way back, there was no pumpkins in Ireland. There weren't even a thing. So hi true psych ward. So like pumpkins weren't even a thing. So they had to carve out a turnip. I'm not sure if um um I'm sure you have turnips, but they're rock hard, absolutely hard as a brick. in the inside. So I don't know how they must have had arms of Arnold Schwarzenegger back then to be able to scrape out the insides of a turnip. And then not only scrape the insides of the turnip, but to carry it around. And then some people actually didn't even have a spoon to do the carving. Pocket knives, I suppose. Oh, I wonder should I have said that. Is that a banned word? I don't know. Couldn't be. Anyway, so yeah, we didn't. We had turnips and plastic bags. But when I was growing up, that's what I want to get back to. Like an awful lot of the things that we did when I was a child would have been done by my older family, my sisters and brothers who are older than me. So they would have got it from my mother and possibly my father, the games they played, and then handed down from them, from their parents to them. So this could be, hi Jan, this could be well over 100 years old. Like, stories and games that I'm going to talk about now, because, and it's so sad. I was letting Adam, well, I wasn't letting him out, he was going out himself, but I was letting the grandson out earlier on, and I was like, he won't even know these things. He won't even know the games. They've never done that here, never, since we were children, and that's just Jar. So it's sad that the traditions are going out, very sad, but possibly, maybe, hopefully, they might be dredged up again in the future. I'd actually like to see that, because some of the games were really funny. Some of them sinister, some very scary. There was some that I didn't even partake in, and I'm not afraid. And I was still like, no, I'm not doing that one. So, first of all, our attire. Our attire was totes amaze balls. Totes amaze balls. You had to get just the right costume for your Halloween. Just the right costume. Sorry, other eyebrows clicked up. Just the right costume consisted of a black bag to go over your body. Maybe a witch's hat if you were lucky enough. A Londis, no other plastic bag. It had to come from Londis. And it had to be a plastic bag so as you could fill it with sweets. God be with the days when we had nothing and couldn't go and go into the shop and get a ready-made costume. I was like, what? What are you talking about, ready-made? It's the whole part of Halloween is making your own costume. So then the really lucky people would have twine to go around their waist to tie in the black bag in case there was a gust of wind and it took her up into the air and they went flying off into the atmosphere. And a mask. These masks. I was talking to a friend of mine during the week about these masks. They were hard plastic. They lasted from about 1974 to 1987. Now, mind you, this is the one mask that lasted all those years. It was hard plastic, and you minded it so well, because if it ever split anywhere in the corners or under the chin or the nose, oh my God, the nose would be so sore, because the plastic was so sharp. It was taking lumps out of us. So we'd have to mind our plastic mask, because heaven forbid we get cut with it, because they were lethal. Absolutely lethal, and there was only ever 6 faces made. There was only ever 6 of these masks made. No other faces, and if I find it later on, I will post a picture of them underneath. So that was our attire, and everybody was the same. Everybody had to get the perfect black bin liner. Great costumes. The perfect black bin liner. The perfect Londis. I'm telling you, Londis. Uh, Plastic bag for your sweets. The face off your mask, and if you were lucky enough, a witch's hat. If you were a boy and had a witch's hat, well, do you know what? Fair play to you, because that's all there was. Literally, that's all there was. There was nothing else. Um, and that was the fun of it, because you could stick on stickers and stuff to your black plastic bag and make it original and your own, like. But that now you just go into the shop and buy them. But that was that way. I'm not even reading any of these. Oh, Jen, I will. It actually came up on Facebook the other day, so I will. Oh God, they were so sore. Pillowcases. Jen, I don't even know if the Irish had pillowcases back then. I'm not even joking. It would have been a happy home to have a pillowcase, I tell you. Oh my God, that's cool. That's really cool. No music, Josh. Um, that's really awesome. Or low enough that I don't get. Um, where was I? Oh, the costumes. Yeah, I will. I'll post a pic. I'll send you a picture of the masks. Oh my God, they were so painful, so painful. So then you had your attire on you. Around 3 o'clock, you decided to go around all the houses, which were really only 5 houses, and really only two if you counted the houses with children in them. So, but everybody, all the neighbours chimed in and had bit of apples and grapes and things like that. Then we'd go home and we'd start playing the games. Oh, that's what they did here in my house for years. They'd be swapping sweets for days. Oh my God, would that not have been hard to walk in though? A mummy costume. Well, I suppose nobody wrapped you up in the wrappings, but that would have been cool. I'd have liked that smell shoes. Excuse me for the cough. So the first game that would usually come out would be the five saucers, not flying saucers or UFOs, but saucers. And the different saucers had different things. So saucer one would have clay in it, say. Then saucer two would have water. Three would have a wedding ring. Four would have a cross in it, and five. It'll come to me because I'll think about it because it will come to me because I know they all symbolize something. Anyway, so you'd be blindfolded and you'd be spun around a few times, and the plates would be shuffled so you wouldn't know where they were. And you put your hand on whichever plate. I'm doing it here, and sure you can't see me, but you put your hand on whatever plate, and whatever plate you got was going to be your future. So if you were clay, of course you were going to be dead, unalived. No, it doesn't. Oh God, no. Catholic guilt never ever dies. No, never. Wait till you see. Wait till you get to this story, right? Just listen up for just a minute, right? Number one, clay, you were dead. Number two, the water was you were going overseas, you were traveling. Number three, the cross, the crucifix, you were going to become a nun or a priest or whatever the case may be. Uh, the wedding ring, of course, was the wedding ring. I can't think what the fifth one was. But it wasn't great for your life now either. You weren't getting a good life out of this at all at all. You were just, the best you could pray for, I suppose, was to become a nun. At least I haven't said that, I don't know. Would it be becoming a nun be any good better? I hate the word unalived. Yeah, so do I. But I'm afraid of saying, you know, if you got the clay, you'd be dead. I like. Well, I suppose if the YouTube doesn't take this down, I shall not be. Why would YouTube take me down? There's like millions of people out there that talk worse. Anyway, so they'd be support 4 bowls, so everybody would have their go at the 4 bowls, 5 bowls, to see what they got, and uh, of course I don't remember what anybody got, but it was good fun, good, clean, honest Catholic. God forgive you, it's fun. Then everyone knows the bobbing for apples. Everybody knows the apples out of the ceiling, and everybody blindfolded and hopping apples off each other's heads and headbutting each other in the middle of it all and everything. Um, but then there was another one with apples, and we used to get the apple and peel it. Now, if you were lucky enough to get the peel of the apple peeled in one go, you were trick or treater awesomeness for that game alone. You were just mind blown. You were Everybody loved you for that because nobody ever peeled the apple. Also, the fact that Mammy gave us kind of blunt knives didn't help the matter of trying to peel a fucking or a hard apple. I'm getting angry, and I'm not even playing the game. I'm starting. Um, but yeah, if you got it all off in one go, you were terrific. But even if you didn't get it off in one go, everybody at the same time threw their apple peelings behind their back, and they'd turn around and they'd look at the apple peelings on the ground and see what sort of shape the peel made, so as they could make out who their future husband would be, or wife would be. So yeah, that was a good game. Liked that one. And other one. Now I'm drawing a blank because I'm wondering who the hell is Susan. Um, yeah, trying to find out who your um who your boyfriend, husband, or wife would be. Now, at this stage, the boys would leave the house because they were like, my family are older than me, and the boys would leave the house. So everybody knew what they were up to anyway. So every year, same thing happened every year. No matter how much twine or wire or anything the local farmers put on their gates, all the young fellas would manage. They would go out with chisels and everything to get these gates off the bars. So if you were lucky, your own gate was left in your field. If you were unlucky, they mixed your gate up with somebody else's gate, and you'd be going around for days on end looking to see where your gate was. Like, where did the feckers put the? That's a blue light. I don't know either. Um, unless the guards are trick or treating this year. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, you had to go around looking for your gates, and so you could bring them back to your farm and put them on the appropriate fields. Now, if you had a big farm as well, you had a bit of a problem because they'd go across the fields. They would drag gates for miles and miles around just to annoy the neighbours, and like they did it every year, so they were known for it. But that was their bit of crack. Then the later ones, when I would be put to bed and my niece would be put to bed, there'd be horror stories put on, or horror films put on, and all the adults, as I said, my sisters and brothers are older than me, and they would have all got involved in their antics. So the one thing that I was terrified of, and to this day I still haven't done it, and I want to kind of half do it on a live some night. Um, it's actually called scrying, but they didn't know what it was called back then. And you'd light a candle, put put yourself facing the a mirror, light a candle, brush your hair, and eat an apple. And by the time you've the apple eaten, you'll see your husband standing behind you. Yeah, like there in the mirror. Um, Also, what you can see when you're scrying is you can see actually your face. Some people put water, just pour a line of water over the top of the mirror and let it all fall down. And you can see your face will change into the evil side of you. So your evil self, your doppelganger, will show their face through the water on the mirror. I'm terrified to do it. I want to do it. I really want to do it. But I think YouTube wouldn't be ready for me shouting and roaring and running down the street. Um, so I did have some stories. Was there any other games we played? Trying to think now. Hmm. No, you see, you didn't really go into the town or anything like that, because in the town was not great because the eggs would be thrown. The Catholic Church one year, no, it wasn't my brothers. They were adults with children of their own at the time. But the gates were taken off the Catholic Church, and things like that. And people driving down the town, and they would have egged your windscreen. So people kind of tried not to go into town after a certain time in the evening to get the treats and stuff. So that was what we got up to. Um, I did tell. Sorry, Josh. I did say a few of the stories the other night, but I saved them on the wrong thing. Some ghost stories, and they were fun. I have to find a piece of paper, and I may come back later on with a few ghost stories and see if I can spooky out of it. Um, and that's about it. And if anybody knows any games, come back on and let me know, and we'll have a chat about them. Oh, I didn't see Jen Lou when she was ET. Well, you're right to not give a single fuck, because I would have. That would have been awesome to me. I would have loved to have been an ET. He was a cool toy, actually, back in those days. I know his finger was only the thing that lit up, and E.T. Freedom. But he was awesome back then. Yeah, I was only ever a witch. Not very young. You see, this is. And I think this is where I can pull up if I had a picture. No, I'm not going to do it just in case. Um, Layout, screen share, uh, me in a document. Is that how that works? Me in a document, and I pull up some kind of queer document. Prime. No, that just flunked me out of my YouTube altogether. Yeah. Am I out of it altogether? What? Where did you go and what happened? Uh, I think I have. Still trying to learn, Jen. Still trying to learn. Won't let me post the link. No. I was going to try and post the link for to see if there's joiners or. Did he? Oh, the haunted house scared you. I was in a haunted house with the boys many years ago, Josh. Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe more than 10, actually. Maybe 11 years ago. It was in Wexford. The Can't think of the name of it. That's gone now too. But you went in and there was weird stories around it before. Loftus Hall. That's right. There was weird stories around it before we even went to it. Like, because there was one year I went down and I was standing still as a bird on a rock, right? Looking at the dolphins, jumping in the bay, and I turned round to go up to the lighthouse and to get back into the car to go home, basically. And I fell and made bits of myself, and I was literally on the same rock. So how I went, I felt like I possibly was pushed because I looked behind me thinking my sister was after doing it, messing or something. But I fell, my hand was cut, my face was cut. I was in an awful state after it. And the lighthouse was like 100 feet away from Loftus Hall. Then another time we went to the lighthouse. Loftus Hall still wasn't open to the public at this time. And I was after buying a brand new camera, and it was fully charged, um, ready to go out to the Hook Lighthouse. It's Hook Lighthouse in Wexford. Ready to go down there, take a few photos of Hook Lighthouse, and hopefully record some footage of Loftus Hall. Okay, great story. This camera that I was after buying and put brand new batteries into, I turned on outside Loftus Hall and it would not go on. We stopped the car and I faced the camera up towards the hall because it's beautiful. It was a beautiful hall and it's right on the west coast. East Coast. Sorry, I had to do north, south, east, west. Yeah, right on the East Coast, right at the water, right? So you could imagine how eerie it felt. The lighthouse was there, and how many boats and ships. You could just go crazy history wise in your mind. But the house. Stopped at the house, took out the brand new camera with brand new batteries. I was only after taking 2 or 3 pictures of the lighthouse, and the camera wouldn't go on. Would not turn on, no matter how much I tried. I tried everything, took the batteries out, put them in a different way, and I was like, I've had enough. Just we'll get in, sure we'll try the next time. About 3 minutes up the road, on comes the camera. The ghost of Loftus Hall obviously did not mean to see her, or see him, or the devil. It was open then to the public a year later, and I was actually, this is what I wanted to do one of my lives on, because the photographs were amazing. No, not photographs I got taken, because I couldn't take any, but the ones that are on the internet are amazing. Um, the inside, the 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 flooring of the inside of Loftus Hall was done by the same man. They were renovated and done by the same man that did the tiles for the Titanic, all downstairs. But the only part that's left is the little foyer. That's the only part that's left with any of the tiling, um, mosaic tiling that was done throughout the house. The the original lady of the house, Lady Loftus, she saw these um uh staircase, and it went up and around either side of the house to make a circle around upstairs. But it was totally ornate, beautiful staircase. Um, the original family were the Loftuses. Then I think there was a Loftus that became a nun, and so they turned the house into a monastery. And nuns lived there for years. Then it went derelict for a lot of years, but now it's in the hands of another Loftus that has brought it back to its somewhat original state. So when you go to the hall, you get your tickets, and you're brought around the hall, and you're told all the stories. Already you've done the research, so you don't need to be told again all the weird things that went on in this house. So, oh, my elbow. At the pictures of Loftus House. Oh, Jen, you'd love it. You would love it. And you'd love the story behind it. It's weird. It's weird, weird, weird. So, the original story that comes from Loftus Hall originates on a night like this. Very cold, very windy, very, very wet. And you could imagine on the coast of Ireland how bad it would have been and how bad it got. And this ship came up onto the Hook Lighthouse, found its way towards Hook Lighthouse, and crashed into the rocks. Probably the bloody rock I fell off, now that I think of it. Maybe it was him that pushed me. So these people got off the boat, and most of them were able to be, you know, were allowed to lie around the lighthouse, and the boat wasn't in that much of bad shape, so they could stay on the boat. But this hooded, cloaked man decided he'd walk up as far as the house because he saw the lights on. So he goes to the house, and the butler lets him in. And what can I do for you, sir? Can I speak to the man of the house? Of course. So Mr. Loftus is brought out, and he says about the bad night that's outside, and that he's nowhere to stay. Could he stay in the house? So after a bit of talking with his wife and his daughter, they decided to let the man stay. And he stayed for a few days, actually. He stayed for a good while. Like, he thought he was on holidays. I'm only joking. But he stayed for a few days. And him and the daughter started getting a little bit friendly, because he was a very handsome man. Very handsome, rugged, piratey man, with a cloak and the pirate's hat and the whole lot. Sure, look, the women back then, you know, even now it's kind of romantic. Look at how many people like Pirates of the Caribbean. Just saying. You know, there's a pirate lover in a lot of us. And but he stayed for a few, and as he stayed, the daughter and himself got friendly. He became friendly with the household. At night time, they'd go into after dinner, they'd go into the card room and they'd play cards. But this night, they were all playing cards around the table, and, having a glass of wine and a bit jovial and having fun. And the daughter lets one of her cards, fall on the ground. So with that, she bends down to pick up her card, only to find, instead of boots, she found two big, thick hooves. And with that, and the hole is still there, and with that, the trick or treaters, the man turned into the devil, as we'd say ourselves, he turned into the devil himself, and up through the roof, up through the other. This was a 3-story building, up through all the roofs and out into the sky, and off he went. And they'd never seen him after that. But he is still there, because while he and the daughter were becoming friendly, the families did not realise how friendly they were becoming. And the love story became quite the love story. So much so that the daughter was put into the room right beside the card room, locked there, and kept there for 9 months. Nobody went into her in any of those 9 months, only to give her her food. They weren't there on the night that she gave birth to that baby. They don't know what the baby was. They don't know if it was a devil's spawn. They don't know if it was male, female, nothing. They don't know anything about the baby. The girl goes into labour and she gives birth to her baby. And while she was in the room, she was going mad, because she was in this room for 9 months, 24 hours a day, that she found a little hole in one of the bricks of the house. And she pulls out the brick the night that the baby is born. And she puts the body of the baby inside the wall of that room, where that baby's remains are still there today. I didn't need to know that. Then we were brought into another room, which was actually the chapel. And this was supposed to be a hive of activity, which was really weird. Okay, there was actually a weirder story to Loftus Hall that day in particular. I reckon I was never meant to go there. And the weekend we brought Josh for his birthday. That's why I asked him how many years ago it was. And he wanted to go to see the show and what was going on. And I had a pain in my head from that morning, the morning of his birthday. And it was just rattling. It was rattling. It was like, as I said back then, it feels like somebody's pouring boiling, scalding hot water inside my scalp, down my head. Later to find out that I actually had shingles. But I was too sick to go. I should never have went. The only way I could go around the rooms, which was really weird also, was to wear sunglasses. Why was I not allowed to see anything? Why was my head so sore that I had to put on sunglasses to walk through that house? I was never meant to go there because I would have found out way too much about the place. But the chapel, that was supposed to be a hive of activity. We all sat in the pews, and of course I had my sunglasses on, and I saw nothing. But a few people said they heard stuff and that, but I didn't feel anything there. There was supposed to be the souls of the dead nuns would come in and start praying, or they'd start singing hymns, and they'd move all the stuff around on the altar and that, but nothing like that ever happened to me there. Then we went out into the bloody where the staircase is, right? And they tell us the story about the staircase. And right at the top of the staircase, there's 4 kind of like arches in the wall, and there's a Our Lady, there's a Jesus, there's a Joseph, and I'm not sure, probably Saint Peter, but all of them had their heads cut off. The night that the devil came out of the roof, the heads fell off all the holy, the religious memorabilia. And any memorabilia that's brought into that house since then, the heads will come off them. If a crucifix is put up on a wall, it'll be turned around the next day, upside down. Now, I did get a feeling there, and that wasn't nice. I did feel that staircase was not nice, but not nice from the time that the nuns were there. Not from the time of the devil and the original Loftuses, but from the nuns. When the nuns were there, I got an awful feeling on top of that staircase. And when we were downstairs being told about the staircase and upstairs, I did see sort of... Do you know what it was like? It was like when somebody has taken a drag of a cigarette and the smoke comes off the cigarette, not the smoke from your mouth, but the smoke from your cigarette, and it kind of goes like that in the air. Well, that's what I seen across the landing of where that staircase was. And it was definitely the nuns. The nuns weren't very nice in that nunnery community at all. Then there was other little not like stories, you know, that wouldn't really be as scary. Now, we didn't do the nighttime vigil, we did the daytime vigil because Josh was about 10 and Dean was about 6, so we weren't allowed to do the nighttime one. But me and Nadine would have actually loved it. Just lads, stay in the car, we're going in to do the nighttime one. They probably would have seen more outside, actually, come to think of it. We would have been better off staying outside. But no, we didn't go to the nighttime one, but myself and Nadine really wanted to. Um, that was Loftus Hall. Um, yeah, those were stories. They were kind of scary, but kind of just for the children's sake scariness, do you know? And then, of course, we went out into the tea room and had coffees and buns and lunch. But yeah, Jen, if I'll post up the link to the Loftus Hall, and it's amazing. So that's our ugly masks, Loftus Hall, and I'm sure I'll have to find something else by the time we're finished. Sure, it's only early doors. Look, it's only 5:45 in the evening. Sure, we've hours left of scariness. Did you like that, Jen? That's how all my stories are. All of my stories are scary and kind of awesome. Some people would say they're scary and kind of runaway scary, but no, you loved it. You'll have to come to Ireland. And I'll bring you around all the haunted places. There's a haunted house just out the road, and the things I've seen out there, that annoyed me. Not to the point of wanting to hop the phone off a wall or something, but it annoyed me that I was in such good humor, and I was in such good feelings about my stories from years ago, about my real stories, my real actually what happened with me and spirits years ago, and put it in the wrong place. Of course, went in through Facebook or YouTube wrong through the StreamYards. But I have the list of the stories that I told, so I will tell them again. But I have seen so much spirits, it's unreal. Yeah, come to Ireland, come to the Midlands, and I'll bring you out to the local scary place. It's Newcastle Forest. It belonged to Colonel King Harman, who I did see. Colonel King Harman was a man who was very wealthy. He was a colonel from England, and he came over maybe 200 years ago. I'd like to say, I'd have to research all the dates again, but I'd like to say about 200, 250 years ago, because he did actually, it's a workhouse just down the road from me. The nursing home, and there's houses built just down. As I said before, I think I said I live in a kind of a cul-de-sac, and at the end of the road there's a nursing home, and there's houses and all that sort of stuff. It's right along by the River Inny. And Colonel King Harman would he'd have his family meal made. He'd have whatever. Like nowadays, your colonels and your queens and your kings would throw out the rubbish and throw out the food and whatever. But if there was anything at all left over, he'd get up on his horse and he'd come into the town, into Ballymahon. Actually, Ballymahon stands for Ballywahan, the town of the Mahons. So he would ride his horse down this road, along my road, down towards the workhouse, and he would leave all the food for the people that lived in the workhouse, and they were called the poorhouses. And so his family, whatever was left over from meals and that, or even bread before it went off, or he was such a kind man. And actually, even things that weren't gone off, he kind of had them made for the people down there. And he was an English colonel, so it was even more weird that the English and would help the Irish that much back then. And I'm not sure even to today, if he was found out that he had helped the poor Irish as much as he had done. would he have gotten away with it with the army, the English army? I'm not sure. But there was one night I was coming in. I was only a child, and my mother was driving, and my sister was in the front of the car. And Mommy was like, "Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it?" And Dory had her eyes closed. "No, I can't. I can't. I can't." I looked out, of course, and I seen a man on a horse. So I was like, I didn't know who he was at the time, but that was the spirit of Colonel King Harmon. So now, I think my dinner is ready. Is my dinner ready, Chef? I'm talking to you. I was wondering, is dinner ready? Um, you're welcome. He hates the camera. So yeah, it would be fun, Jen. Me and you out ghost hunting. I have to try and get people to do that with me too. There was Jer's sister is just like me, and she's mad to get people to go ghost hunting with her as well. I told you I got oh god the rods. I told you I got the rods last week. I don't know if I'm too strong or the fact that there's too much around me, too much energy fields around me. But it's like a bloody helicopter. I'm holding them and just spin and spin. Now, after a few minutes of them going crazy, trying to tell me who people are there, they do kind of settle and they'll go into the cross for a yes and they'll open for a no and do all the things. But when I took them out and held them the first time, I felt like I was holding on to a helicopter because they were just whirling. I was holding them like that and they were whirling in my hands like that and opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. And these are reasons why I don't buy divinity duels. I got a lovely crystal as well when I bought them. I have to use them. I bought a lovely crystal pendulum as well that has all the chakra colours matching the crystals that go along with the chakra place in your body. So I have to give that a go as well. But yeah, all fun and games in my house. So I shall come back later on and with a few more ghost stories and see how we get on. Let Jen Lou lots of links and stuff so she can see all the scary stuff. Those masks, I'm telling you. Lethal. Lethal. Good night and God bless. And I shall talk to you all later. It's only 5 to 6, so there's loads of time later on for a few ghost stories. And don't be too spooked. Don't eat all the chocolate and the candy and the sweets. I'd say that too. Bye.